Good morning, everybody. I can see. I need a monitor up here so I can see.
It was a wait and see. I was like, who's going to talk first?
You could have spoken first. I can't see.
But it was a game for me. So it's like, let's just do a social experiment.
Welcome to this Sunday morning edition of Check-In. I'm Sara Lesky. He is Jamie Thomas. Thanks so much for joining us at an early time today. With this being a 5 p.m. start, there's some things going on in the building as well beforehand. So we thought we would get things going early, get you set so that you can enjoy some of your Sunday as well before watching this or attending this game tonight. It's for the second time in as many games, the Winnipeg Jets hosting a team that played the night before.
In Minnesota.
It was Utah last game. It is Calgary tonight as the Jets look to close out this quick 2-game homestand.
Yeah, and I think so Calgary wins last night, beating Minnesota. They come in here today. You think about the last time they were here, Winnipeg completely dominated the hockey game, but it was the Dustin Wolf show. Dustin Wolf played last night. So in theory, it would be Dan Vladar today. We might find a little bit more from Ryan Leslie, who will be joining us again from Sportsnet a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, busy show. Emily Kaplan from ESPN is going to join us momentarily, making some time for us to be able to talk about the big trade that happened the other night. I mean, Friday night during the Jets game, everyone, all of a sudden you just saw the feeds on social media just explode with everyone talking about the big trade that was headlined by Mikko Rantanen being traded from the Colorado Avalanche to the Carolina Hurricanes. So we will get her perspective on that. She does a great job. And then Ryan Leslie will join us in a little bit as well to give us an update on the Flames, but also just to share some laughs. He was with us a week ago when the Flames were here and we had such a good time. We asked him if he would come back this morning.
It's not often you get to be on the show 3 times. So Ryan Leslie the first time, is it? Well, Paul Edmonds has been on 3 times.
Probably.
Yeah, but Brian Leslie, a visiting team coming on 3 times, unheard of. Unheard of in today's media landscape.
Well, you know, when you're as entertaining as Ryan is, yes, we make these exceptions. You know what? Emily has a very busy day. We know her
family's in town apparently,
but she has kindly said that she would spend a couple minutes with us. So why don't we bring her in right now so that we can get things going?
Wow.
One of our favorites in the business, Emily Kaplan. So nice to see you, Emily. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. It's so great to chat with both of you. I feel like it's been a very long time, but I appreciate you squeezing me in. It's right. My folks are here. Everyone wants to visit Chicago in the middle of January. So that's why they're here. And I'm excited for a day with them, but excited to chat hockey with you.
What's it like when mom and dad come to visit?
Oh, well, so my sister has the grandkid. She has my niece. So they are the full attention. And I'm just there as an accessory, which is quite nice for me, to be honest. I'm always there to play assist.
All right, Emily, let's get right to it. What was your reaction to the big trade when it went down on Friday?
Yeah, shocked, stunned. I think like the rest of the NHL, like we don't typically get deals of this magnitude in our sport, let alone in the middle of the season. I think there's a lot of reasons for it. A lot of managers are risk averse. They don't want to take a bold move like this, really shake up their roster. So you have to give kudos to these managers for really just seeing, hey, look, I don't know if we can continue with the current course and we have to do something to shake it up to get our team over that next step, whatever it is. Obviously, it's always uncomfortable for players when they have to move in season. These are really beloved guys in those locker rooms. So like there's the human element to it. But just from a fan or media perspective, you love to see it. And I was just so excited to tune into that Hurricanes game yesterday. Just like, what does Mikko Rantanen look like on a line with Sebastian Aho and Andrei Svechnikov? It's like fantasy hockey.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see. And, you know, Scott O'Neill was asked about it yesterday, and he said, we don't have to face Mikko Rantanen 4 times a year anymore. But the funny part is they have to play Carolina 2 more times, so they will see Mikko Rantanen 6 times this season. So a lot, Paul Bissonnette has played a large role in this rumor, but Sidney Crosby going to Denver to play for the Colorado Avalanche. You know, the Penguins media has spent a lot of time saying he's not going anywhere. Can we put this to rest that Sidney Crosby is going nowhere, Emily?
I mean, as of right now, no. I'm always careful of making any declarative or definitive statements in this business. But when all those rumors were flying, I did check with someone who's quite close to Sid and would know. And he's like, no, it's not happening. And I think the issue is that, look, we love Sidney Crosby and we know Sidney Crosby only cares about one thing, and that's winning. And we see where Pittsburgh Penguins are right now, and they're last place in the Metro. They're at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, and it feels like they're kind of spinning their wheels here and need to do something to take that next step. And it's probably a few steps backwards first. Like we watched the Washington Capitals successfully transition on the fly And Pittsburgh needs to do that. And we don't see the wheels quite in motion. So everyone's wondering, is Sid going to get fed up with this? But there's a couple things I know to be true about Sidney. One, he's very loyal. When he signed this 2-year extension with the Pittsburgh Penguins, he knew what he was getting into. He knew what the landscape looked like. And of course, he wants them to be competitive. And I think he's secretly hoping in the back of his mind, we're going to get some assets here where we can maybe compete after the trade deadline, and maybe it's going to help our team. But the other thing that I do know about Sidney Crosby is that he's so singularly focused. Like, I always try to ask, like, what does he want to do after hockey? What are some of his interests post-playing career? And the people close to him, like, always kind of laugh at me. And it's like, Sid doesn't think that far. Like, he's just thinking of, how am I going to win the game tomorrow? Or how am I going to do this chunk of training to get me through this stretch? And so I firmly believe that there's people around him saying, hey, this is what it could look like if you moved. If, you did change careers, this might be your legacy, or this is what it would look like. But for Sid, I really feel like all he's cared about right now is where he is in the current moment. And it's so cliche, but that's just the way he's wired. So I'm not sure he's even really grasped the idea of what it would be like to play for another team. So I don't think it's happening anytime soon.
I haven't really given a lot of thought to what Sidney Crosby's post-playing career could be like.
Neither
but now,
has he, apparently.
Well, it makes me feel better than Emily that I haven't thought about it. But it would be fascinating to see in what capacity, I mean, he stays involved with in the sport, or what he chooses to do when he retires. So this was obviously a massive trade. You could argue one of the biggest trades that we've ever seen in season before in terms of the magnitude of it. Do you think that this will open the floodgates a little bit? Maybe not for 3-team trades, Emily, but do you think that this might get things going a little bit leading into whether it be the Four Nations or just the trade deadline at the beginning of March?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a copycat league, first off. So I think that if these teams are successful after making a trade like this, maybe it does open the door for more trades of this magnitude in the future. But just in terms of like the right now, I know a lot of teams would like to get some business done before the Four Nations break. Some teams are waiting, and there's some players that are going to be at this Four Nations tournament. Brock Nelson, maybe Chris Kreider, we heard his name earlier, that if they have a big performance, perhaps that boosts their trade value or gets something going. But just in terms of the Hurricanes, I know they were one of those teams that was talking to a lot of teams, right? Specifically the Vancouver Canucks. And we know they're trying to move one or both of JT Miller and Elias Pettersson. Well, now that they're pretty much out of the mix, we can write them off. Maybe that does spur some action for either of those trades or somebody else who is hoping for one of these players. So I think we are going to get a flurry of action here in the next few weeks, and then get a big pause, watch some great international hockey, and then see where it goes.
Well, I think you performed very well with your parents in attendance at your house. So I'm going to make sure, I'm going to ask the next time, hey, when are mom and dad coming to visit? And then that's the next time we'll bring you on the show. But great stuff, Emily. I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you guys. And Jamie, I know I'm going to see you in Montreal and Boston. And Sarah, I hope soon. I miss seeing you at the rink.
I know, too. Feel free to come up to Winnipeg. It is a short, direct flight from Chicago.
Yeah.
Come up, you guys. There has to be a feature that we can pitch you on.
100%. Oh, we love our American prince, Connor Hellebuck. Of course, he's going to get all of the love. I love going to Winnipeg. And when you guys were in the Western Conference Final, that was one of the most memorable playoff environments I ever covered. Right? It was against the Vegas Golden Knights with the second round series, whatever it was epic. But I work at ESPN, and we have 2 reporters, and the other one happens to be based in Winnipeg, and that's Leah Hextall. So we love Leah. She just gets all the Winnipeg assignments because she doesn't have to hop on a flight.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
I can see how that happens, but still, maybe she'd
spend
be
a little
to
money,
make a trade.
ESPN. Really, just spend some money here. It's a cheap flight.
Thank you. Speak to my bosses. I love it.
Thanks so much, Emily. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Talk soon.
See you, Emily. It's really nice for her to join us with the parents in attendance.
Absolutely. Emily Kaplan, I mean, great as a ringside reporter.
Yeah.
She's done a great job there, but then also writes for ESPN.com. So even though we don't get to see her as often on our broadcasts on the channels up here, certainly she's always someone that you want to follow and read her work as well.
Long time covering the National Football League too. So, but she says she's enjoyed hockey a lot more in some ways because obviously the athletes, obviously the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goes without saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? You and me.
Okay.
Why are we wearing these jerseys, by the way?
Tonight, actually. Why are we dressed identical?
Again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even with the white shirts underneath, that would be because
Point that
tonight
out.
is the 7th annual Wassac Night here at Canada Life Center, celebrating Indigenous culture. These are beautiful jerseys. There's a lot of different apparel options as well. So did we have to be dressed identical? No, we didn't, but apparently that
Our
is
jerseys
okay
are different though, because I've got the Lowry jersey. You have the Hellebuck jersey. Nicely done.
for it.
You didn't even see what it was.
I
did you?
didn't pay any attention to
Yeah.
it. I just put it on.
Yeah.
But it looks
I was like,
great.
I'm gonna ask. Should I ask her if she wants to wear the Lowry or the Hellebuck jersey? I'm like, no.
You should have, but that's fine.
Executive decision when people aren't here yet. So, that's right.
No morning skate today for the Jets or for the Flames for that matter. Obviously, the Flames having played last night with it being a 5 p.m. start. No morning skate for Winnipeg. They did practice yesterday. Josh Morrissey did not practice. He's been dealing with that flu bug that's been going around the dressing room. So we will see what happens today at morning or at warm up.
Nikolai Ehlers was a question mark for the game, and
Yep.
look what happens.
I know.
So that was the question of the scrum yesterday. So is Josh Morris going to put up 3 points like Ehlers did? And congratulations to Nikolai, by the way, 500 career points.
Yes. Most ever by a Danish-born player. Then you also had Cole Perfetti, obviously.
The hat trick.
The hat trick, his first NHL hat trick. He had talked in the morning about trying to be more annoying on the ice. And certainly he seemed to accomplish it in many ways. But great to be able to see him that he had talked about how he had liked what he had seen in his game recently, but hadn't been, obviously hadn't had the production. So for him to be able to lead the way that he did, we saw him smile an awful lot, which was great.
Well,
but adding that element to his game, something that...
Yeah, it wants to be annoying.
Yeah.
There's nothing more annoying when you score on people. So did it work? Let's find out from Cole Perfetti from Friday night.
Just like, I just see how effective it is, right? Like I'm, trying to learn and adapt to the game and, trying to see where I can be better. And, as a smaller guy, I figured like I kind of realized I can use my size actually to my advantage with, getting into guys, being slippery, stuff like that. Like there's, I just think that kind of something just kind of clicked, like that's another element I can add to my game. And we, talking with the coaches, the biggest thing was I needed to find a way to impact the game when not producing. So that's kind of been my thing. If I can get a couple hits, if I can get on the forecheck, a couple blocks, whatever it is, then, I can help the team win in a different way. And that's, my mindset is just trying to, adapt and be the best player that I can be.
I think he did that the other night. I love the comments. You guys look in the comments. That's what the word he wanted to use. I don't even know if we're allowed to put it up.
I get such a kick out of people and be like, it was prick.
Yeah.
The word was he wanted to be a prick. Prick, annoying. Like, I mean, fine.
Yeah.
It's yes, but I do think some of them are funny. Cole, the prick Perfetti. Cole Prickfetti.
Yeah.
You mentioned.
Oh, we've gotten clearance from the producer to put this up. So there we go.
For it. Yeah. You mentioned about how Ehlers wasn't feeling well. He had been asked about whether or not this was his equivalent of the Michael Jordan flu game.
Yes.
Which I wonder if he had even.
Ehlers knew. Yeah, he said he recalled it. So that was, I believe, the 98 NBA Finals against Utah. It was Game 5. And Jordan, you can see they talked about it. He had an IV. So that's the whole thing. Ehlers, we didn't see Ehlers on the bench with a towel over top of his head. I don't know if he was getting IV during the game. But he said he had played in much worse condition than that before. So maybe that's Josh Morrissey. It's a little preview what could happen this afternoon, this evening, if you want to look
just
at that
saying. So we mentioned Calgary playing last night in Minnesota with Dustin Wolf. And we were joking with Ryan Leslie last time about how Wolf, what's the Calder talk like for him? You'd have to think that's right. You'd have to think that Dan Vladar will get it. He's had only 5 starts since December the 11th. He's 0-4-1. His record so far. Calgary has had a lot of success in the first game of back-to-backs. Not so much in the second game. They are 1-4 so far this season. But obviously, these two teams played just over a week ago that they were here. And that was a game you mentioned. I mean, Wolf stole the show. There was talk about whether or not they were goalied, but they had so much offensive zone time. The 5-on-5 chances, high danger chances, greatly
39-22 the shots on goal
outweighed them. But Scott Arniel saying after that last game, thought they could have done a better job of screening Wolf. And they did do a good job with the ozone time, but traffic at the net, battling to get inside for rebounds was an area that maybe they want to look at more for this upcoming game that they didn't do as well. A lot of their shots, they kept them more. The guys talked about it afterwards. They were kept more to the outside. That Calgary did a good job of clogging up the middle.
And they'll, again, of course, do that a little more today. And Dylan DeMello, here's the thing. It's the same thing with Utah. You just played them a little while ago. You're familiar with what they're going to do right away. It's because of how quickly you just played against them. So we'll see how the Jets address with that starting at 5:00 this evening. Early start. That's why we're here at 10:30. Ryan Leslie will be joining us here in 10 minutes. The Flames had immediate availability at their hotel here in Winnipeg. So we'll hopefully get to see what Ryan has to say about the lineup here this afternoon for the Calgary Flames who won yesterday.
Do you think it will be Eric Comrie or Connor Hellebuyck in that?
I was talking with Paul Edmonds and Ken Weeb yesterday during the skate over at the the Hockey for All Center. And we feel like it's Comrie game. This is the time.
Yeah.
Scott O'Neill was asked about that yesterday, gave a smile, said, we'll see. So there was that's very Randy Carlyle of him to not tell us who the starting goaltender is. It feels like a game for Eric Comrie, I guess, in some ways.
So Eric Comrie, as we all know, he has played well this season. He has not been able to get the wins in the last 8 games, 0-7-1 in his last 8 starts. But in his defense, they have scored a combined 12 goals in those 8 games. So if it is Eric Comrie in net today, then hopefully they will be able to help him out a little bit, because when he lost that
last game,
my first thought as time was running down, I've just said, poor Comrie.
Yeah.
Once again, it's Connor Hellebuyck's, for whatever reason, they have been able to obviously give him the run support as well. Hellebuyck, should he start? He's 15-2-2 in his last 19 games. He was the first goalie to 30 wins and one of only 9, as you just continue to see and get more context as to how impressive it has been for Connor Hellebuyck and what he has been able to do so far this season. One of only 9 in NHL history to hit the 30 win mark in fewer than 40 games.
Amazing. It's simply amazing what he's doing right now. And that's why the continuation of the conversation with him to be the Vezina Trophy, not only the Vezina Trophy winner, but the Hart Trophy winner when this season does wrap up. But we are a long ways away from that. And hopefully a lot of people commenting about Comrie. Yes, Aristill, he has been solid. Ryan just texting a moments ago, Dan Villar today. So it will not be.
As to be expected. I mean, after it was a game, rarely do you ever see a goalie play back-to-back this day and age, but also it was a high event game last night. Minnesota they were up 4-1.
Oh, we've seen that before.
They were up 4-1. They ended up hanging on for a 5-4 win. 2 late goals from Minnesota certainly made it very interesting. We have not put up a question of the day today, but
hold on. So let me type that out for a second.
No, I was going to say, why don't we just ask, what do you guys think? Who would you put in net tonight? Would you go with Eric Comrie or would you go with Connor Hellebuyck?
Good question.
Just because we see so many people already in the chat right now talking about it, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they use those two going into this stretch against the Four Nations break, because obviously Connor Hellebuyck also doesn't have a break over that stretch.
We got a lot of commerce coming in here right now. Lots of commerce.
Okay.
I like James Robinson. I just put up a little while ago. Helly has more wins than most teams in the NHL. Solid point. Yeah, we've got
So one of the things that Corey has pointed out in there, this could be a first round matchup. If the playoffs were to start today, this would be the first round matchup. When you look at the first the 2 wild card spots and you look at kind of the 3rd spot in both divisions, everything's so close. I think it's going to be fascinating to see how things unwind, how they transpire over the remainder of the season going into the postseason. But yeah, this could be a first round playoff match. This to me is a season where you want to finish very much first in the West.
Yes.
You don't want to play right now. Colorado would be, if you finish second, Colorado would be the team that you're facing in the first round.
We were talking about this the other day. I just don't think, I know what happened last year in the playoffs, but I just don't think there's that fear of the Avalanche this time around. Considering, I know it's the regular season, but I've just seen a lot of positive direction from the Jets, this way they've defended, in particular against the Colorado Avalanche. But I still all for them winning the division and certainly winning the West. But I don't really know if there's somebody in the conference you should be scared of at this point. I mean, it's
no, but if you look at, if you looked at it and said, okay, so you could face Erie, Dallas.
Yeah.
You could face Colorado. You could face Calgary. Which would be your first choice to face?
Right. Fine. Calgary.
I mean,
Yeah.
it would be.
That's no disrespect to the Flames.
No,
either.
not at all. I mean, you have to face someone,
Yes,
but
yeah.
I think that it would be fair to say that you would prefer to face the Calgary Flames over some of those other teams. I love to see so many people, you can tell from all the comments that people are putting in about get Comrie a win today, Comrie with the thumbs up. How great. You just know that this crowd today, and whether it be in the building at Canada Life Center, if you are watching the game from home, are going to be so happy when you see Eric Comrie finally get back into the win column.
And then goal support, obviously.
Yes.
Jets have done a nice job of scoring goals the last 2 games. And I think they should be given a lot of credit, because they've bounced back from the game in Salt Lake City on Monday. And on top of that, B, you've done this without Adam Lowry. That to me is the most important part.
Yeah.
And Rasmus Kupari played it was the third line reunited without Adam Lowry, and they played a lot of heavy minutes on Friday night and did a great job against the McBain line, a big, heavy line that Utah throws out, and they did a fantastic job. And Rasmus Kupari was out there for some important faceoffs. He's killing penalties. Yeah, the fourth line again had a great game. David Gustafson scored his first goal of the year, which was awesome to see that puck bounce off the stanchion. And we talked to him yesterday. He's been working hard, and someone asked him, David Gustafson, about how he's kept positive. How he said, "Well, I'm sulking," and I'm paraphrasing. I'll be clear about that. If I'm sulking because I'm not getting points, then I'm not a very good teammate, am I? So that to me tells you everything. And this is his 14th consecutive game. You're starting to see the confidence start to flow. And Scott Arniel said it's because he's playing every game now, and that confidence starts to come out that way. So the Jets are 4 lines deep, and we talk about the big move that Colorado made. They made that move, their GM said yesterday, because they need more depth. That's what Winnipeg is right now, and a lot of it, especially up front.
Yeah, and with respect to that trade, I mean, everyone highlights Mikko Rantanen for it, but there was a 3-team trade because Chicago got involved as well. Taylor Hall going to Carolina, a lot of different pieces involved with that one. It will be really interesting. Kind of when Emily said that she thinks that this could be a lot of activity leading up to it.
Yes, that
is exactly, I think, as fans of the game, what you like to see, because we always like to see some excitement in that respect.
Yeah, and like there's so much now. They're starting to build up towards 4 nations, but you like to think there'll be some movement. And I heard the other day they're allowed to do trades during the 4 nations face-off too, as well. So
are they?
Yeah, they are. So it's not lock of the rosters up at all. So that'd be kind of fun to be there and someone gets traded.
Yeah, but what if you were, I don't know, you're away on vacation and
true.
All of a sudden you find out.
Well, you are on vacation in a nice sunny place, and
for it.
Yeah.
All right.
While we're here.
Okay. Have no heart. It's fine. Just
that's what
human element missing, but
I'm here in the snow.
That's fine. Yeah. Great to see so many of you in the chat today and active in it. Yes, the question that we were asking, do you think that it should be Eric Comrie or Connor Hellebuck getting the start tonight? Don't forget to hit that like button, heart it, whatever you need to do. Let's get those numbers up as well.
All right. So we're going to bring our next guest in, and we're going to ask him clearly to update the Calder Trophy race because it's important. It's almost February. Also on top of that, you and I, we've been in this business a long time. There's been some scrum killer moments where a question is asked, athlete or coach gets mad, walks away, and then you get the look.
I haven't.
Well, you know who has had that look is this guy. We're not going to talk about me right now. It's all about Ryan Leslie joining us right now. How are you, my friend? Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, we were just talking about scrum killer moments. Can you tell us one about yourself? Because I enjoy when you struggle in life. Can you just share that with our viewers? The one time that you messed up.
I've messed up more times than anybody, let's be real. But I love that you love when things go sideways for me. I appreciate that.
You're
By
welcome.
the way, are you wearing pajamas right now? What are you doing right now? You're a grown man. Are you 50?
53. Just go on with the story. We don't have much time. You were talking about how you couldn't come
Again,
on. So let's go.
Take the hanger out of your jersey before you put it on. All right. So, yeah, years ago, I got dropped into a San Jose Detroit Game 7 series, and hadn't done, I think, I don't know where I was earlier in the playoffs, but I dropped into this one cold, and it was Game 7, and the San Jose big guys of Thornton and Marlowe and Heatley were pretty quiet. The offense wasn't there, and I think they had just the one goal. And so Joe Thornton comes out, massive scrum, as you can imagine, Game 7. And everybody in the hockey media sort of was in and around that series. And I was in a terrible position to ask a question. My cameraman was in a terrible position. I think it was just going to be the ear hole side shot. This is not a good look. So I'm like, I say to my cameraman, Sean, I'm like, Sean, I'll just ask the first one. So he has to turn our way. And he goes, okay. So I thought, thought it was a fair question. I said something to the effect of, Joe, just the one goal for the big three so far in this series. I'm thinking about the San Jose history, right, where they were just kind of underachieving, going the distance, but not getting over the hump. And I just said, one goal in this series. Just how important is it to try and for you guys to find that offensive touch? He looks at me, he looks at the entire scrum, and he goes, "Who the hell is this guy?" and walks away. Just everybody looked at me, and you could just see, like, you idiot. And I'm like, no, it's just a minute. And he's walking away, and I'm like, hold on a second. So fast forward to, that was pregame. That was in the morning. So now we go back to the rink for, getting ready for the game and the meal. I walk in the media lounge. You could almost see everybody looking at. You could hear like the cutlery dropping. Like, oh, this guy again. And sure enough, Sarah, you'll enjoy this part because on the televisions, in the media lounge where all of your former networks coverage, they were all on every TV. They were covering the series, and you can hear James Duthie say, "Well, is the pressure getting to Joe Thornton?" And then I had to relive it again. And so they play it, him walking away. You could just see everybody. I needed that guy for my article, you donkey. So it was just, I ate by myself. I sat alone. I was new to the area. It was awful. But you know what? We got to relive it in San Jose years ago, in and around the Jonathan Chichu night when they were honoring him for his offensive prowess in San Jose. And Joe, I was interviewing Chichu and right in front of the San Jose door. For some reason, that was always the way it was. You did your interviews right in front of the team door. So Joe comes out. He wasn't playing that night. He had a bowl of food and he was eating it as he walked right through the middle of our interview. And then he joined us live. It was great. And then we had a laugh. I said, "Do you remember the moment you walked away?" And he goes, "No." And then we had a good laugh about that. It was great. But oh God, it was terrible.
Those are the worst feelings.
Scrum buster.
Yeah. I was at the World Juniors in Vancouver, Ryan, and of course I was working for City TV at the time. And they're like, "Okay, I want you to ask Brent Sutter about the billet program." And I'm clueless at that time. And I go, "Well, still am. And I'm not gonna let you say it." So I get there's hockey. It's in Canada. There's a ton of media there, and I go, get the microphone. Brent, can I just get a comment on the billet program here in Vancouver for the World Juniors? And Brent Sutter just stares at me. Then he looks over to the side, PR, looks back at me, looks back at PR, and he's like, "Yeah, what is this?" And then afterwards, Terry Jones from the Edmonton's like, "Way to go." And like same thing, everybody's looking at you because you totally killed the mood. I'm asking about the billet program at the World Juniors instead of the game itself. So yeah,
that's the newsy in you, Jamie.
Yes, that's right. Just love the news part of the news side.
Next,
of things.
You followed up with, "What's the economic impact of the juniors being held in?" Stop.
What do you get out of this? How important is the weather to this tournament?
Always love telling stories, but can we get a quick thought on the Flames game from last night? How did they play, and what are you expecting here tonight?
Well, they played pretty well, Sarah. They got a little sloppy at the end, and then you saw Minnesota jump back into it. Yeah, for sure. They had the injury to Kevin Ball, who will not play last night. He went into the end boards rather hard, and don't have much more of an update still at this point. I think they'll get back to Calgary and get him completely evaluated with their medical staff. It looks as though we're going to go right back to Dan Vladar tonight. I shouldn't say right back because Dustin Wolf played last night, but because of the back-to-back, it will be Dan Vladar tonight. Apologies. Have we got a goaltender for the Jets officially named? I would assume I
No.
know the
Not.
answer, but
No,
okay.
it's a mystery.
All right. I mean, because they're on a bit of a rotation, aren't they? Like a 3-1. I don't know. There's lots of speculation. I don't want to get anybody in hot water. So we'll see who starts tonight for Winnipeg. We of course had Eric Comrie last game, so I wonder what it'll be.
It feels like a
but-
Comrie game. That's just as we're just going up a feeling right now. You know what I have a massive problem with here, Ryan, is that Sarah never told a story how she killed a scrum. Like she just moves on to the game.
I know.
Yeah, like
I
just
love
like
story time, but not my embarrassing ones.
I'm trying to think
Does there-
of one.
oh
Are
my
none.
gosh, you have to think
There
about
are
it.
none.
No, there's
I am-
guaranteed. Obviously, I've had those moments before. I just
Oh
can't.
my
I don't
god.
Forgot
have
to
it,
prep.
say a
Got
Joe
it.
Thornton one fresh off the top of my.
Forgot to prep.
You know what?
I'm never
Here's-
getting invited back, am I, Sarah?
Here's the thing, Ryan. When Jamie doesn't tell you what he's got planned, it's just
It has
just
to be
here. I am
it's
just here
organic.
as
It's an
I'm just
organic
here
moment.
as his
It's
sidekick.
organic.
Apparently,
Even though your name's first in the show.
I think you
respect.
lend the credibility to the program,
Oh.
Sarah. So thank you so much.
that's why I asked about the game.
Okay, listen. Go do your hair. I'll talk to you a little bit later.
Oh,
That's
quick,
it. These are really the
quick.
questions you have for me.
All of that
Footnotes and footlockers.
Calder Trophy update. Go.
Oh yeah. I mean, what are his odds? Like he's certainly in there now. I know how last week I bristled at it. Now suddenly we're revisiting it, and now I'm on board with it. He's making a name. He's making a name, and it's hard to argue what he's doing now. Again, last game, a couple late goals, that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
he just. I was talking to Mackenzie Weegar about it the other day, one of the Flames defensemen. He just said, yeah, I remember, this year, 5 or 6 games in, he had a game where he was doing a couple of, just sprawling saves side to side. He said, and at the back of the bus after that game, veteran guys are sitting there going, we might have something. We might just have something here. And
Yeah.
to take nothing away from Dan Vladar, who they've also believed in, but there sort of feels like there's something here, and you can hear the confidence in a young player in Dustin Wolf, and some of the things saying, inside this room, we believe we're going to get in. This is a young player to be not only feeling it but saying it. A combination is something. So, hey, lots of time. Things can go really good. Things can go sideways. We'll see. But this guy, from a Calder standpoint, legitimately has to be in the conversation. He's in a key position. And he is the reason, if you ask anybody in the Flames locker room right now, why they are in a playoff position. There's a lot of great nods you could give to the coach for pushing the right buttons. You could look at a lot of different players, but the goalie is the key reason, if you ask him.
Okay, hold the thought. I just remembered something. So we're going to share something, a special moment with you with Jacob Pelche the other night.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking
jealous,
about, right?
Jamie?
I'm totally jealous. This is a special moment, actually. Hold, please. Here we go.
It was fun.
Oh, yes.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. There he is, Jacob Pelche.
I like Jacob.
Oh, yeah.
One more
It was
time.
fun to watch. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. There he is, Jacob Pelche.
Is this an 18 and over show? Because that's pretty graphic.
Yeah, it's just not going to stop. He's just going to play it over.
just gonna
and
keep
over
going.
again.
So,
How about Kelly Rudy on Hockey Night last night? He goes, I wouldn't be kissing that guy's head. Oh, thanks, Kel. What a gentleman.
so that was
Just
organic.
buries
obviously.
me to the nation. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say, you think the comments that he's made, geez, never mind, Kelly.
Oh, I know. I can feel the knife in my back from here, Sarah.
100%. Just go like, what type of broadcast teammate is that for? What did you do to Kelly? You obviously didn't
Well,
drink enough wine.
I
Did you buy him a cake
good point.
recently?
I probably made more fun of the button popping a couple years back than I should have, and he has a good memory.
People don't forget. That's all there is to it.
Certainly the internet. I'm looking
very
forward to it.
quickly-
Will we see you guys tonight? Do either one of you even go to games anymore? I don't know how it works.
Okay, well, it's a TSN broadcast, so I do.
Oh, okay, good.
So will you be down in the Zamboni? entrance.
Remember a couple years ago, Sarah, you and I opened up shows simultaneously side by
Yes.
side. Can we do that again tonight?
Well, I think we should. Dan Murphy and I did it the other day when the Canucks were here. So I'll share the
And you-
Zamboni space with you.
You
It's-
probably kicked his butt. I love it.
I mean, you know.
That's an empty netter.
Here's something we don't see every day with you. Thank you, Ryan.
The very quickly as we say as we wrap things up with you, because we do have to get going. Ryan, this could be, if playoffs were to start today, this would be the first round matchup for it. So we'd be able to spend a lot of time together, the three of us. But what would you think of a Flames Jets matchup in the first round?
I mean, I think it's a good one. So somebody brought that up on the plane the other day. If that were the case, who would you rather? And I don't know if there's an easy answer. If you're Calgary, like, do you want Winnipeg? Do you want Edmonton? Do you want Vegas? What do you like? There's just no. Those guys are heavyweights. You're all heavyweights, and Calgary's clawing and scratching and just hanging on to stay. And they're kind of like Jamie in this episode here. But it's honestly, those I wouldn't want to face any of them. But I do like the idea of a Winnipeg matchup, just from a standpoint of it's good travel. It's a good team on the other side, good people.
Yeah.
And I love the passionate fan base here. So it's it'd be a lot of fun, a Canadian matchup for sure. And I would take it from that standpoint. I have no idea how they, the matchups would go, because those examples that we talked about are just so talented. And Calgary's still got some time to prove they belong in the dance, and they've got some time to. Is that a trade Jamie comment? Yeah, finally. And so you've got some time to maybe add some guys, or just kind of solidify what you already have. So in Calgary's case, like I realize in Winnipeg, guys, it's just get me to the postseason. That's all we're measuring things by. I completely am on board with that. You need a good, successful regular season. You got to go through it. But here, and like Edmonton and like Vegas, the big boys, just get in Toronto, other places, get me to the postseason today, before I can evaluate. But for Calgary, it's like they kind of need the time. Are they, they've got to get there. They've got to refine their game. Are they going to add pieces? Who's going to step up? They need this season to stay in it and figure out what they are and what they're going to be, because their identity right now is really, really solid. Can they hang around and then potentially add some pieces? Time will tell.
Well, looking forward to this one here. It's a 5:00 Central start. We will see you at the rink, Ryan, in a couple hours.
Thanks for having me, guys. Great to see you.
See you, buddy.
Bye, Ryan.
Bye-bye.
Ryan Leslie joining us.
Always great to be able to have Ryan join us. We have gone way longer than what we typically do.
Well,
but...
Sunday, and look, we got a lot of viewers here, so we had to run it out a little bit longer.
All right.
Do you have somewhere to be?
I do have somewhere to be. But
I didn't know that. Okay, so Sarah's got to be somewhere. So let's get the show on the road here.
Looking forward to this. Looking forward to this game here tonight. We talked about kind of a little bit of redemption for the Jets against Utah.
Yeah.
Looking forward against Calgary too, since when the Flames were in here just over a week ago, it was a 3-1 Flames win. We'll be watching for warm up to see whether or not there's any changes. Obviously, no morning skates today. But looking forward to this one. We do know that Dan Vladar will be in net for the Calgary Flames. Are the Jets able to continue to build that momentum that we've seen again as they continue to climb up in the Western Conference standings and separate themselves?
Looking forward to watching you guys do your openers beside each other in the Zamboni area today. 5:00. Watch it. Listen to it. Flames, Jets. We'll see you later.
Thanks so much, everybody, for checking in. We will see you later. Hit the road for the next week. Take care, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.